Thomas was resting on a sidewalk when Hiroshi, the newest Japanese diesel from the Northwestern Railway, pulled up in front of Thomas and said, "Hey, clunker," and then he ran away. But Thomas didn't even bother to react, and since Hiroshi was just teasing Thomas in a friendly way. However, in the following morning, something went wrong with Thomas' boiler, so Hiroshi had to take Thomas to a workshop near the shunting yard. After a 21-minute journey, they arrived at the maintenance yard located near the shunting yards. However, the situation was far more serious than they had anticipated. And finally, after 2 hours, Thomas was repaired, taking advantage. In fact, Annie and Clarabelle was in the same camp as him. And for the rest of the day, Thomas went about his usual work without any problems. Until 5 p.m., snoring, when they realized something mechanical problems were starting to appear in Thomas again. Until Thomas stopped completely. Hiroshi took Thomas to the workshop, and only after many hours they did discover a problem. Thomas was based on a LBSC R E2 class tank engine, which is a tank engine. Thomas' model was starting to get old. Hiroshi even apologized for calling him clunker, but Thomas didn't even care and said everything was fine. Annie and Clarabelle were also taken to the workshop because with mechanical coming directly from Japan from the Oigawa Railroad, Thomas and Annie and Clarabelle would get a new looks and new shapes, and their mechanical problems will finally be solved. The following morning, all the locomotives on the island came to see the new form of the beloved Thomas, which is happened. It took 2 days to be repaired. When Thomas came out the shed, everyone slowed hard because he looked very different from how we were used to seeing him before. Thomas looked completely different and in a new form, along with Annie and Clarabelle, who have received a new paint job and had more seats than their previous versions. Hiro was shocked because the type of locomotive Thomas had become was originally from this country, Japan, the same true as Annie and Clarabelle. Since both being repaired by mechanicals who came directly from the Japanese railway, the Oigawa Railway. 3 minutes later, all the locomotives cleared the way so that Thomas could make his maiden voyage from Sodor to the Nin Valley Railway. As a Japanese National Railways C11. But that's another story.